You have probably done something you weren't proud of. Maybe you stayed in a job you hated years longer than you should have, or stayed in a relationship that stopped working long before you found yourself at the end of it. Whatever the case, at some point you told yourself a story that isn't quite true. This is called cognitive dissonance. Every person alive does it, even if they don't know it. The psychologist Leon Festinger coined the term in 1957. Your brain runs two systems at the same time. The first is who you believe you are. Cool, decent, rational, good, smart, funny. The second is what you actually do, which sometimes isn't any of those things. When those two pull against each other, your brain experiences discomfort. Festinger called this phenomenon dissonance. Your brain tries its best to rewrite your beliefs to fit what you did. In 1959, Festinger ran a simple experiment to test this. He had participants spend an hour turning wooden pegs, a task designed to be as tedious as possible. Then, he asked each of them to tell the next participant, waiting outside, that the task had been interesting and enjoyable. Some were paid $20 to say it, others were paid $1. Afterwards, he asked everyone how much they had actually enjoyed the task. The $20 group said it was boring. They'd been paid well to lie, so the lie had a clean explanation. The $1 group rated the task as enjoyable. You see, $1 wasn't enough of a reason to have lied, so their brain fixed the problem another way. It changed their memory of the task itself. They weren't consciously pretending. Many appeared to revise how they felt about the task. You see this everywhere. Someone buys an expensive car, and the moment they drive it off the lot, they start noticing everything good about it and explaining away the problems. You have probably done this. Studies show people rate purchases higher right after buying than right before. The decision was made, the money was gone, and the brain has to justify it. Someone who votes for a politician who turns out to be corrupt will find a way to reframe what the corruption means because the alternative is sitting with the fact that they were wrong. The brain will not do that voluntarily. So, there's the answer. Your brain finds contradiction unbearable. When who you think you are and what you just did don't match, and because the human mind craves consistency, this mental tension motivates you to subconsciously justify and rationalize your perceptions to restore mental harmony. Festinger already knew this, so in 1954, he went looking for the most extreme real-world case he could find. That led him to a housewife in suburban Chicago named Dorothy Martin. She had begun receiving messages from beings she called the Guardians. These Guardians were aliens, she said, communicated with her through her hand in a process called automatic writing. Their message was so consistent it was funny. The world would end on December 21st, 1954. A catastrophic flood would destroy North America, and a flying saucer would collect the true believers the night before. Obviously, we are currently in 2026, so you can rest assured. A group of followers gathered around her, calling themselves the Seekers. These were ordinary people with real careers and lives who quit their jobs, gave away their savings, hell, several even left their families. Regardless, all of them were waiting for December 21st. When Festinger heard about the group, he recognized a perfect laboratory. He already knew what would happen that night. Nothing. So, he and a team of researchers joined the group undercover, posing as fellow believers to watch what would happen when the prophecy would inevitably fail. On the night of December 21st, 1954, the group gathered at Dorothy's house, removed all metal from their clothing as instructed, and waited. Apparently, metal would interfere with the saucers. As midnight approached, the atmosphere inside Dorothy Martin's house became increasingly tense. The believers had spent months preparing for this moment. Midnight came and went, and once it was clear nothing would happen, Dorothy started weeping and the room had gone silent. A group of people were realizing that they have just made a terrible mistake. These were people who had quit their lives for this night, and for them, there would be no graceful exit from that room. At around 4:45 a.m., Dorothy claimed she was getting another message. This one told them that because of their faith, their gathering, the light they had brought into that room, God had spared the world. Their belief had stopped the flood. The room broke open, people embraced. Dorothy called the newspaper to let them know everything would be okay. Many of the remaining believers accepted the new message immediately, and by extension, they wanted everyone to know the world wouldn't end. Festinger's explanation came down to investment. Dorothy's followers had given everything for this. Their brains needed the prophecy to be true. The cost of being wrong was too high. So, their brains rebuilt the failure into confirmation, and they felt it as a genuine revelation. Dorothy left Chicago shortly after. She moved to Peru, then settled in Arizona, where she continued receiving messages from the Guardians and built a following around a new group called the Association of Sananda and Sanat Kumara. She died in 1992, still receiving messages. 40 years after the night the prophecy failed, her brain had still not let her see what happened in that room. She had given everything over on December 21st, 1954, and her brain made sure the debt never came due. You haven't joined the Doomsday Cult, but you have stayed inside something long past the point where it made sense and found reasons it was worth it. You have made a decision that turned out to be wrong and located evidence that it was right. You have done something unkind and built a version of events where it was justified. You see, your brain's priority is coherence, not accuracy. It builds a story that holds together, and it does this below the level of your awareness. Festinger spent his career demonstrating that this is a universal truth, that everyone does it. The question worth sitting with, in my opinion, is Which of your current beliefs exist only because the alternative is too costly to face? A man with conviction is a hard man to change. Tell him you disagree, and he turns away. Show him facts or figures, and he questions your sources. Appeal to logic, and he fails to see your point. Leon Festinger, When Prophecy Fails, 1956.